So picture this, a massive insurance company, thousands of employees, billions in revenue, and finally they're dragging themselves into the 21st century with mobile apps and web platform. And every single one of those digital systems, every iPhone app, every web transaction, every server request, all of it depended on one overworked IT guy holding it all together with duct tape and caffeine. Just one guy. That's it. And this went on for years, could still be going on for all I know. If that sounds familiar in some way, your team might have the same problem. And today I'm going to give you 4 ways to fix it before it breaks your team. What I just described has a name, a knowledge singularity. It's when critical organizational knowledge lives inside exactly one person's head. And it's way more common than most managers realize. The scary part is most teams don't even know they have the problem until someone quits, gets sick, or goes on vacation at the worst possible time. In the case of the IT guy at the insurance company, everyone knew, they just chose to do nothing about it. But most teams are operating in the dark. By the end of this video, you'll have 4 concrete strategies you can start using to spread knowledge across your team, reduce your risk, and build a group that doesn't panic when someone goes offline. We're going to cover least qualified first, pairing, building a skills matrix, and setting up a shared knowledge base that people actually use. So let's get into it. Before we get to the strategies, you need to understand why these singularities form in the first place, because it's not always obvious. Sometimes the person hoarding knowledge is doing it intentionally. Being indispensable feels good. It's job security and it's status. But honestly, most of the time, it's not malicious. It's just that management never made knowledge transfer a priority. Nobody asked. Nobody built the time in. And so one person just kept doing the thing they were good at, and the knowledge never moved. I call these people toxic heroes, not toxic because they are bad people. They're often great people, but toxic because the concentration of knowledge becomes dangerous to the whole team. And here's what makes it so hard to fix. The organization actually rewards this behavior. The IT guy who saves the day every time there's a server crisis, he gets praised. He becomes essential. The system has no incentive to change. That is, until it breaks. And by then, it's a crisis. So let's talk about how to get out of this situation. The first strategy flips everything you think you know about work assignments on its head. Most managers instinctively give the hard work to their best people. It's logical. Get the expert, get it done fast. Here's the problem. Every time you do that, the expert gets better or not, maybe they stay the same, and the rest of the team stays exactly where they are. The gap widens, the singularity deepens. So here's an alternative. Deliberately assign the challenging task to someone who's never done it before. Not to set them up to fail, but to force real learning. But here's the critical piece. The expert doesn't walk away. They become the mentor. They sit alongside the novice, they guide, they explain, they coach. But there's one rule. The expert cannot do the work themselves. They must work through the novice. Think about what this does. The novice gets real hands-on experience in a live context. Actual work, actual consequences, but with a safety net. But here's what surprises most people. The expert benefits just as much. Teaching forces you to articulate what you know. You can't just lean on your intuition. You can't just do the thing. You have to explain the thing. And when you try to explain it, you often discover you don't understand it as completely as you thought. Now, it's true that this is going to slow things down at first, but you have to accept that. This is the investment that's required for the team to increase its skill set. And you'll find that people learn a lot faster than we expect. And before long, you've got 2 people who can handle something when only one could before. And that ultimately is the goal. This approach turns the learning dial on your team from 1 to 11. The second strategy is simple enough to explain in one sentence. Never assign critical work to a single person. Always assign it to 2 people working together. The idea has deep roots in software development. Pair programming has been a common practice for decades. One person writes the code, the other reviews and thinks strategically, and then they switch on a regular basis. The result is consistently higher quality than either person produces alone. But this isn't just a practice for developers. You can pair people on client meetings, support tickets, data analysis, troubleshooting, any work where a knowledge gap would hurt you if one person disappeared. The key is rotation. You're not creating permanent buddy pairs. You're rotating people through different combinations so that knowledge spreads naturally without anyone being assigned to go train someone. It just happens through the work. So, why does pairing beat solo work? There are three reasons. First, accountability. It's harder to cut corners when someone else is right there. Second, learning happens in real context, not in a vacuum. Third, you eliminate single points of failure. When two people know how to do something, you've already doubled your resilience. The rotation piece is non negotiable. Don't let two people pair forever. Keep mixing it up. Eventually, everyone has worked with everyone, and knowledge flows freely instead of pooling in isolated areas within the team. Now, for the third strategy, I want you to try to answer a question without looking anything up. Just think about it. If the top person on your team left tomorrow, who else on your team could replace what they know? If you hesitated, you probably need a skills matrix. Most managers can't answer that basic question about who knows what, not because they're bad managers, but because they haven't mapped it. The process for a skills matrix is actually straightforward. Start by listing 8 to 12 capabilities essential to how your team functions. Not tools, not software, but outcomes. Can resolve billing disputes is better than no Salesforce, for example. Step two is you have everyone self assess using a simple 4-point scale. No knowledge, currently learning, proficient, or expert. Self assessment works better than manager scoring because people are typically harder on themselves than you would be on them. It also ensures that they own the rating that they're giving themselves and can compare their rating to other team members. The third step is to look for danger zones. Any skill where only one person rates themselves as proficient or expert is a knowledge singularity, and you need to flag it immediately. The final step is to build learning plans. How are you going to, as a team, close these knowledge gaps? And here's the important part. You let the team drive this. The manager doesn't have to drive it. Who wants to learn what? Who's willing to teach? Your job as the manager is just to provide the time and the permission. Learning is work. It shouldn't happen after hours. It shouldn't happen randomly. You have to actually invest the time to learn. Now, how much time you invest is a function of how many critical gaps you have in the knowledge of your team, how many knowledge singularities you identify. You could find that a couple of hours a week of extra learning is sufficient. Other teams may find that it's critical that they spend a great deal of time, maybe 10 hours a week, in just learning and education until they get to a stable floor where they've reduced the number of critical danger zones or knowledge singularities in the team. Now, one thing to watch out for in a skills matrix and just generally is the illusion of experience. Someone who's been doing a thing for 10 years might have just 1 year of experience that they've repeated 10 times. You need to look for adaptability and breadth and growth, not just tenure in a role. Review the skills matrix quarterly. As your team grows and your systems change, your map of who knows what needs to keep up. The goal isn't a perfect spreadsheet, it's visibility so that you can fix what you can't see. And finally, strategy 4 is a shared knowledge base. Now, this is a common one that most teams try and they've given up on. They have a team wiki or some kind of team document. And eventually, after the first version, nobody updates it, nobody looks at it. It becomes kind of a dead document. It may look beautiful in some cases, but it contains nothing useful. And here's where most teams go wrong when we talk about shared knowledge bases, is that it's not a product that you ship. It's a tool that you use. And here's where most teams go wrong. They treat a knowledge base like a product that they're going to ship rather than a tool they're going to use. They want it clean and complete and organized before anyone touches it. So what happens is nobody touches it. The key insight is this: your knowledge base should be working documentation, not presentation documentation. The standard isn't, is this beautiful? The standard is this better than nothing? If someone can use this note to figure out how to do a task, it belongs in the knowledge base. Rough edges included. Incomplete sections where someone captured half the process before getting pulled into a crisis, that belongs in there too. A quick note someone scribbled during a debugging session, that belongs in there. Multiple versions of the same procedure from different teams, okay, that's fine. Here's the counterintuitive signal. If your knowledge base looks pristine, it's probably a ghost town. Real working documentation is messy because real work is messy. Mess means people are using it. The maintenance model that makes this sustainable is called hygiene as you go. When you find something wrong, fix it on the spot. Broken link, fix it. Process changed, update the doc. Confusing explanation, clarify it. Don't save it for a cleanup sprint that never comes. But there is a role that you actually need to add to your team to make shared documentation work, and that's the wiki gardener. A few people on your team who don't write all the content because that's what everyone's job is, but who tend to the overall structure. They reorganize things, they clean things up when they grow unwieldy, they resolve conflicts between versions, and they make sure information is findable. Most teams have someone who naturally gravitates toward this kind of organizing work. Stop treating it like a distraction from real work because it is real work. Give that person the time to do it right. And remember, just like all other knowledge singularities, having only one person do this can also be a knowledge singularity. You want at least a couple of people to be able to maintain and garden your knowledge base. Okay, so we've talked about 4 strategies: least qualified first, pairing, the skills matrix, and a shared knowledge base with a wiki gardener. None of these require a big rollout. None need executive buy-in to start. You can begin any one of them this week. If you have an immediate crisis, try pairing. If you want to build longer-term resilience on your team, move to least qualified first. If you just need visibility about what gaps you have and a plan to begin to close them in an orderly way, then a skills matrix is a good place to start. If you're looking for a long-term shift in how the team gathers information and is able to accomplish their work, then a knowledge base or a team wiki is probably a good place to begin. Now, there's nothing preventing you from doing all 4 at the same time. Just as the manager, you have to consider how much time does the team have, how much of an investment can you realistically make, and how much headspace does the team have to add on new things at any one time. But there's no reason to do all 4 of them at the same time. Just step into it easily at whatever entry point makes the best sense for your team. So you start small, but you start now, because the cost of a knowledge singularity isn't just some inconvenience. It's your team's ability to function when someone isn't there, and that day will always come. If this was useful, subscribe to the channel. I put out new content on team dynamics, leadership, and team management every week. Drop a comment below if your team has a particular knowledge singularity that you're worried about right now. We can talk about it. And if you're interested in a systemic way to develop a skills matrix and a learning plan for your team, check out the link in the description, because for a limited time, I'm giving away a PDF copy of my book, The CrossTrain Method, which describes in detail how to create a skills matrix and a learning plan that will measurably improve the adaptability of your team.